Good morning once again to all the participants today, the honorable dignitaries on the dais, my industry colleague Prasun. And I think the last session kind of encapsulated the entire mission and vision of Smart Cities program in India. I would rather call this a movement rather than a program, because the way the program has been envisaged is for the cities to understand whether this model works, and if it does, how to take it forward to the rest of the city, and just not look at pan-city area-based developments, but also look at the pan-city requirements as to how those can coexist together, not in bits and pieces, but as a continuum in the years to come. One of the highlights of the last session, which I would really want to reiterate as I begin my presentation, is the 3 points which struck me as very pertinent to today's discussion. And it was laid down by the Honorable Mayor, where he talked about 3 things. One, the quality of life and the difference it is making to the citizens of Indian cities and citizens living in Chandigarh in particular. The second is the call for breaking down the jurisdictional barriers, or let's call it administrative reforms, which gives much needed power to the smart city CEOs in the room, as well as the other administrative personnel in the cities to drive the real citizen outcomes. And the third most important point that he raised is the question of political will. I think the combination of these 3 are very critical in making the entire movement of smart cities, or smarter cities, or future cities, a movement which is sustainable, which is in our continuum, and which really brings in 3 things: economic attractiveness for the city, sustainability of the ecosystem of economics, and so on and so forth, but more importantly, the quality of life, or the livability index for the citizens residing in the city. With this, I would like to begin my presentation. As we stand at this juncture, it's very important to understand that there have been many cities who have gone through the first phase of their smart city journey. And as we speak, the think tank in the country is congregating already with the consultants who have been designated as consultants to the cities in defining what this blueprint for the Smart City 2.0 as it comes is going to be. And it's very important at this stage to understand that how do we achieve that continuum between Smart City 1.0 or Smart City 2.0. And my presentation is essentially targeted towards that. If you look at examples from across the globe, and I know there will be a huge percentage of respondents who would say that our Indian cities are different, but from the point of view of just plain city governance, there are 3 things which most future cities across the globe are investing in. One is moving from the era of digitally providing citizen services to focusing on citizen experience. As on date, I can count the number of cities that have gone through Smart City 1.0 who've really looked at citizen experience in a digital domain. And I'll explain what. Most of you have been interacting with enterprises, with businesses, with government, and I've had various ranges of experience. Now, when I talk about experience, I talk about your experience in, like, say, shopping on the Amazon portal, or some of you have been using electronic wallets. like a Paytm or a BHIM UPI. If I take a very quick poll, you will see that between BHIM UPI, which I feel is far more secure and far more functionally rich a wallet, most of you would be using the Paytm more often than BHIM UPI. One, because of the interface, which is very engaging, and second, its ability to attract an ecosystem around, which allows you to use that system far more often than you use BHIM UPI. My experience with citizen services, which are electronic in nature, delivered by cities so far, has lacked this basic citizen experience indicator, and I've left it out in some of the planning exercises that they have done. And I'm sure when we are building the blueprint for Smart City 2.0, we will look at citizen experience in a very comprehensive manner. One example is we've completely left out the question of digital inclusion in our quest for delivering citizen services. We realize that in the population there are people who are visually impaired, and there are people who probably cannot speak. Now, how do you build digital interfaces for those people? And there are people, a large section of the population, who may not be able to operate even citizen services which are rendered in a bilingual format. They would like to talk to the computer in a digital domain and get the services they want. And I have not seen a single citizen services or a single RFP in the country today which has taken digital inclusion seriously. But with Siri and Alexa and all the voice technologies that we have today, and some of it, India has been the hotbed of development. Those need to be integrated into our citizen services and citizen experience. Second is, for the last 15 or 20 years, ever since, I don't know whether it's a politically right word, GNMURM was declared, we've been automating municipal processes, looking at process automation very deeply. And I think now the onus on the smart city CEOs and the smart city administrators, or even city administrators in general, has been to show process outcomes. And this is because of the rising citizen expectations from the governments that they have been getting. And when I talk about process automation and I talk about process outcomes, it's not about how many files or how many returns or how many property taxes you've been able to automate or compute in a particular day. It's about what difference has it made to me as a citizen between me asking for a service or me filing a tax or submitting my property tax to the feeling that I have, the experience that I have, or the experience that the city gets in trying to understand what the outcomes is. A lot of times we've seen in cities that sustainability is totally dependent on the huge expenditure to a revenue gap. And most cities have been focusing on, driving compliance with the property taxes. And here the concept of data insights, artificial intelligence comes in to see which are the areas of non-compliance that we can, find out and increase the revenue possibilities for the city government. With Smart City 1.0, we have this era of integrated command and control. I don't know whether I've seen a single city, advisory which does not have an integrated command and control. It's a good thing. You must have an integrated command and control, which will give you, insights. But most importantly, those insights must turn into action. It's about how those insights that we are seeing in the integrated command and control will allow our city administrators to drive outcomes or drive action. I'll give you a small example. I can see by integrating the SCADA network of my water supply as to that there is a drop in pressure in a particular segment. One can understand that there could be a leakage, there could be an illegal connection. but to really integrate that into the back-end supply chain and ensure that a maintenance engineer is immediately, notified through a work order based on his mobile device or on the PC or whatever device that he may be carrying, and he goes across to that particular, site, is action. And a little above that is knowing the fact that the temp or the pressure differential is not because of, let's say, an illegal connection or a leakage. It just could be that the system already knows that there is a preventive maintenance going on in a booster pumping station, which is the cause of the pressure drop, and we don't need to send a maintenance engineer. That maintenance engineer can be repurposed for some other important activity. So analysis must give way to intelligent insights. Moving forward, while you are doing all of these, while most cities will be doing all of these, there are three things, and it resonates quite well with what we heard from the smart city CEOs as well as the mayor in the preceding session, is keep a watch on your technical debt. Because of the systems that you have built, some of them are siloed, they don't talk to each other, documentation is missing, your technical debt is increasing. You know why? Because you are putting in smart technologies which are in continuous dissonance with the existing systems that you are running. So it's always a fight as to how you mature your existing systems to actually marry into the smart technologies that you are building. So the city digital officer, if I can call it that, or the IT manager in the city, has a huge responsibility in managing the technical debt. Second, with all these sensors, environmental, water, pollution, so on and so forth, that you will be putting into the city at the end of the day, whether it's through PPP or even funded by the center and the state, you got to monetize on that IoT investments. Once the data starts coming in and you build your own city data mart, so to speak, you got to monetize on that. I still haven't seen much of an advisory coming through. And of course, if the advisory doesn't come through, we don't see it in the RFPs as well. It's as clear as that. We haven't seen much of the advisories focus on how are you going to monetize on your IoT investments. With advances in electric mobility and other things coming in, with wireless poles being set up, which will also double up as electric vehicle charging points, the need for monetizing your IoT investments is coming up very strongly. And the last point is break down your jurisdictional barriers, because not in my backyard approach is not going to work. Because a smart city CEO is like the PM of that particular city. He needs control. Maybe not always administrative control, but he needs to have visibility, 100% visibility into all aspects that go into driving my life as a citizen in the city. Okay, so you need to break down jurisdictional barriers either through administrative reforms or through improved data sharing. Some transformation scenario examples. Auckland City Council has been developed, has developed a citizen experience platform. This is on SAP, does not necessarily need to be the technology that you will be buying. But please understand what other cities across the world are doing, because they're also facing the same problems. The development authority would have your data, have the citizen data in some format. The municipal corporation will have the citizen data in some format. The electricity utility company will have the citizen data in some other format. The city water distribution or the gas distribution utility company will have your data. So your data is there in multiple formats, and there's a huge issue with data duplication and data services needs. So how do I have a 360-degree view of the citizen so that I know that it's you who's coming in? I can identify as you as an individual. I can personalize my service delivery to you automatically through systems. So systems need to become intelligent. So Auckland City Council is currently live. You can actually go on to Auckland City Council and see what we are actually meaning by citizen experience. And over the next few years, they have a roadmap where they will be imbibing voice technology into these systems as well. And this is built on a platform. So cities will need to move onto an intelligent platform framework. and the city data architecture, the city architecture, the technical architecture needs to evolve. Very little thought has actually gone into these aspects in Smart City 1.0, and we are hopeful, and the onus is on us, the consulting community, the citizens, as well as the city administrators to come together and understand how do I imbibe all of these, because we are hurtling towards digitization in a tremendous amount of space. What you see today as the data that is lying with you within the city is going to become at least 120 times in just about 8 to 12 months. And that is the time you will feel the need that you have all the systems in place, but you don't have the necessary analysis and insights to take you forward and make a difference to sustainability of the environment, economic attractiveness of the city, and the quality of life of the individual. Similarly, if I were to set up a business in a particular city today, there are probably 7-8 departments that I need to interact with you and interact with. And when I'm doing the interaction, I'm probably submitting the same data over and over again. And these agencies do not share the data. So technologies such as blockchain can come into use, where we can have a distributed ledger which can be viewed, which is very secure, which cannot be tampered with by any agency or any individual. And everybody has view to the data, understands the data, there is an approval process in place, and there is an authenticity mechanism that we have in place to drive outcomes. So we can get these results in quick time. This is something that we did with a municipality in Italy called Bolzano, where people who are willing to set up business because economic attractiveness was a big parameter for them. So they build this blockchain model so that you submit your information once, everybody sees it, and you get your approvals, and everybody knows who else is approved, so that I can get my approvals faster, there is no doubt in the place, and at the end of the day, ease of doing business is achieved. Second is creating the process outcomes. This is about Ras Al Khaimah, but I'll talk less about Ras Al Khaimah and move on to the other aspect of process outcomes with respect to the time that I have today. Now, this is with the state of Victoria in Queensland, where they're looking at property taxes compliance. What they see is that there is a certain section of population which continue to get letters from the municipal corporation regarding their tax dues. And they just don't act till the 11th hour when the final reminder comes. At that point in time, they will go probably take a judicial stay or something, or maybe just pay. Now, it puts a tremendous amount of pressure on the city government because it still needs to provide its services from the money that it earns from you. It's not a social charter. At the end of the day, if the smart city, SPP has to survive, there has to be a sustainability model. And that model needs to have the government and the citizens as equal partners. So how do I know, how do I understand what is the propensity for somebody not to pay? And how can I influence it better using AI and robotic and automation to drive better compliance with regards to property taxes? So that's a process outcome. That's not process automation. We've already achieved process automation. We know that there is a property tax system in place. We are doing GIS-based consumer indexing. We are understanding floor area ratios using GIS maps. We are seeing what is the gap between the floor area ratio and the assessment and the tax paid. We're doing all of that today. But to understand that why some people don't pay or pay at certain point in time, and how do I increase my ability to recover earlier, is something that most cities are investing in today. Second is I talked about moving from analysis onto intelligent insights, and I take the case of a city rail or a metro rail today. Today, most of the metro rail corporations in India use our technology to run their basic business. What we are now doing with these rail organizations is they are also sensorifying their trains, their locomotive engines, their tracks, and so on and so forth. And they're getting the data from all of these. and trying to drive predictive maintenance so that their service availability is better, their rolling stock availability is better, passenger experience is better, and so on and so forth. But what we have learned working with them, this is something that we need to understand, that we are not urban practitioners, or we are not transportation practitioners, we are technology guys. We need to work with the urban practitioners, the city administration, the metro rail administration, and build those, intelligent algorithms which will drive competitive advantage, which will drive revenue maximization, which will drive asset maximization for these entities. And we build models, and the important thing that we found was that it's not important to know when a particular component, whether water pumping station will fail. It's because that's a cost. You still got to go and fix it. But it's very important to know how long it will run. You understand what I'm trying to say? Because that is a value multiplier for the government or that particular entity which is driving that particular service. So with Train Italia, we're driving IoT monetization by taking the information from the sensors and building a business value. Yes, ma'am. Our approach to dealing with cities is that we're not into the smart infrastructure. We take the data from your smart infrastructure and we integrate with your backend. In most of the cases in bigger cities, like in Mumbai, 200 citizen services and taxation and revenue management, citizen experience, been running on SAP. In the city of Bhopal, about 370 municipalities in Madhya Pradesh are using our system. Now we use that applications platform, marry that with the intelligent technology platform that we have, and drive all the three things that I said in the beginning of my presentation. However, there's another important thing that is missing today, is the need for building digital capacity within the cities, within the city administrations. And we realize that it's again not government's responsibility alone. We as technology evangelists, we as citizens equally have a part to perform in ensuring that we have the digital capability in the country. With almost 350 million of our workforce becoming labor ready in the next 5 years, we got to make them digitally inclusive so that they're able to use this technology. And hence there's a lot of CSR activity that we work when we are driving digital education with the country's youth. And my colleague, Dr. Lavnish Chanana, I don't want to steal the thunder from him, but he'll talk about some of the groundbreaking work that we are doing in conjunction with governments and enterprises in driving digital capability in this city. So that's about it from my side. I hope I've been able to make sense. I've been able to understand what is next on the agenda for our cities together. And thanks again for the opportunity given to me. Thank you.